This is the Google Pixel 6 Pro, Google's biggest and baddest Pixel yet. I've had it for a little over a month now, and here are my thoughts and feelings about this phone. Let's get started with a little review. Full disclosure, I was sent this phone by Google, but they have no say on this review and do not get to see this video before it's published. My thoughts on this are my own. The Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6 are a bit of a deviation from last year. Last year, the highest end Pixel was the Pixel 5, and that started at $700 US. This year, that title goes to the Pixel 6 Pro, which starts at $900 US, with the less Pro Pixel 6 starting at $600. The Pixel 6 Pro comes in 3 different colors: Cloudy White, Stormy Black, and Sorta Sunny. The Sorta Sunny one specifically looks like a giant pencil with an eraser on top. The phone comes with all the usual accessories, a USB-C charging cable, and a quick switch adapter. And also, as a side note, it no longer comes with a charging brick. Let's quickly discuss the important stuff. Specs. It has a 6.7-inch 1440 by 3120 120Hz OLED display, a 5003 mAh battery, 12 GB of RAM, and 128 GB of storage. It has 5G, IP68 water and dust resistance, and two-way wireless charging. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about all the fun new stuff in this phone. The Pixel 6 Pro has an all-new Google design processor based on a Samsung Exynos processor, the Google Tensor chip. Externally, the Pixel 6 Pro got a massive growth spurt over the Pixel 5 and is now much bigger. I got pretty big hands, and I still think this phone is massive. This really is a plus-size phone. This guy is big, and I mean iPhone 13 Pro Max and Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra big in terms of overall body and screen size. And that might actually push you down to the smaller regular Pixel 6 or different devices altogether. The front is all screen with curved glass on the sides and a hole punch camera in the top of the display. The Pixel 6 Pro's glass back is smooth to the touch with 2 different colors separated by this black camera visor that reminds me of Cyclops from the X-Men. That's about as much as I know about the X-Men. I initially thought that the visor would be useful as a ledge for your hand to grip the phone, but it's too far up for that. It also now has 3 different cameras on the back: a wide angle, ultrawide angle, and telephoto lens. While Pixel phones have always had great cameras, they've reused sensors in the past few models. But these are brand new camera sensors to the Pixel lineup and are really good. We'll talk about the camera more in detail in a little bit. That's its own section of this video. The sides are a glossy rounded metal trim with this plastic trim up top. The side buttons are also metallic, but instead textured so it feels different from the rest of the sides, and this phone doesn't have a headphone jack. You can tell Google went all out on this phone with massive design changes and high-end specs meant to compete with other premium smartphones. But how it looks and feels only matters so much, right? This electronic glass slab is striking, but what's it like to own it? Let's talk about personal experiences with it. The under-display fingerprint sensor is really cool. I'm glad that they moved it from the back onto the front display, but it sometimes doesn't feel as accurate as the old fingerprint sensor. But going back to the Pixel 5a with the fingerprint sensor on the back, it feels like going back to the Stone Age. I think I'd much rather have it in the display up front. The 120Hz OLED display is a nice upgrade, and watching things on YouTube is great with this massive display. But because of its massive size, it fits tall and wide in front pockets, and it really feels like it. There are stereos on the Pixel 6 Pro with the bottom speaker on the right grille and a top earpiece that is actually kind of hard to see unless you really squint and look for it. The speakers sound great, better than the outgoing Pixel 5, but like that phone, the Pixel 6 Pro can be a little unbalanced at times, with the audio sounding a little fuller and louder from the bottom speaker. The front-facing camera is now an 11.1 megapixel camera. It looks great. The new Google Tensor chip in both the Pixel 6 Pro and regular 6 is fantastic. I won't go into specifics since nitpicking how a chip performs isn't really interesting to me. It isn't my forte, and there's better channels to show you the differences between a bunch of different phones, so check those out for that. But I will say, however, the Tensor chip performs fantastic. Everything opens fast, and thanks to the 120Hz OLED display, scrolling around the screen feels really snappy and really responsive. And I can even push the graphics up on the Pixel 6 Pro. When playing Genshin Impact, a game I don't actually play much anymore, if at all, it still makes a great easy benchmark, and I managed to get it to mixed medium and high settings, which is pretty good for a smartphone. Battery life is good. I feel like if you're a light user, you can get 2 days worth of battery out of this thing. But usually, I'd personally get a day and a half worth of usage. So if you're a heavy user, this phone will probably last you the entire day. Let's talk about what makes the Pixel 6 Pro a Pixel. The camera. I recently got a dog, so fair warning, the pictures may be showing her a little too much, but the camera takes great photos and does really well with dynamic range. And for the most part, I like the images that come out of the Pixel 6 Pro better than the images out of the iPhone 13 Pro. And again, how the phone handles dynamic range is probably the biggest reason why. The video in the Pixel 6 Pro is pretty good and definitely serviceable for videos of your pets or for videos of concerts or sports games from the nosebleeds that you'd never look at again, taking up space on your phone. Overall, I think video quality has improved a lot. My favorite Pixel camera feature, which is pretty much the same feature on every Pixel phone I've tried, is their touch to focus track. Click on an object and the camera will do its absolute best to keep focus on the item you clicked on until it gets pushed off the screen. Other than that, you get your usual night sight for night photography, portrait mode for blurry backgrounds, and new action and long exposure motion features. The action motion feature helps you simulate those images of people going real fast. It works great on things that go fast, but on this it looks like someone smudged the background. There's also this new magic eraser feature that you can use to erase objects out of a shot. I found that it works well in simple backgrounds, but in busy backgrounds it struggles a bit. But it's still a little nice to have camera feature. So a lot of the camera features that I just mentioned are camera tricks that photographers already know how to do. But these features being built into the phone makes it easier for the average person to create cool looking shots with minimal effort and, well, a tiny little learning curve. And they can do this without needing to know the exact way to create those shots. Okay, so the Android device market is massive, right? There are devices that range in price, there are devices that range in form factor, there's so many different devices. But what makes the Pixel 6 Pro stand out above all those devices? The Pixel 6 Pro, being made by Google, is the cleanest version of Android you'll find on the market. All of the apps that are installed on this phone by default are the stock Android and Google apps. Most other manufacturers install their own apps and other junk that takes up space on the phone that you just don't want. Google also promises 3 years of major Android updates, and since it's a Pixel device, it would be one of the first devices to receive major Android updates. And in terms of sheer specs, I think this phone holds its own against other premium flagship phones like the Samsung S21 Ultra and iPhone 13 Pro Max, just fine. To be fair, those are also $1,100 phones and are top of the line, and this one starts at $900, and that's not a bad place to be. So, in conclusion, should you get the Pixel 6 Pro? If you're looking for a premium Android phone, one that will get the latest updates first, and one that's a great value at that, I'd look right here. I think the only potential downside to this device would be if you don't like phones of this size, because, well, it is a big phone. The normal Pixel 6 isn't a slouch either, and competes well in its price range too. The Pixel 6 Pro holds its own against other phones in the premium price range and at this size as well. It has great cameras and overall is a device that's a pleasure to use. The Pixel 6 Pro is probably my favorite Pixel yet. It's a Pixel that finally competes well against other premium flagship devices and would be my first pick if I was looking for a large Android phone right now. It's not perfect by any means, but I've really enjoyed using it. Anyway, what do you personally think? Would you get a Pixel 6 Pro, or does a different flagship device catch your attention? What do you like about the Pixel 6 Pro? What do you hate about it? Leave it all in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and well, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Bye.